Welcome to the Campfire Podcast.
Your phone silenced, Riley?
Yeah, it's on ringer off.
It's on ringer off mode?
Yep.
For the army. Oh, it sounds so good. So crispy.
Dude, I did tarp my house today.
Why?
It starts raining, my whole house might, like...
Your house is that bad?
Your house might
Have you seen my roof? Like,
Yeah, I've seen it, but I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, it's not good. So we'll see. Maybe I will drown tonight.
Did it?
Maybe. Let's just make that quick.
Wait, can I see my whole thing?
The last big rain, did it leak?
But it's gotten worse.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. It's super old.
It's, yeah. Like the shingles, like you just touch it and it falls off.
But you didn't say that the way I thought you were going to say it. The shingles, I was like, whoa, where is Isaiah going with this one?
Woo! Safe.
Yeah.
How's the new year?
It's a new year.
It's almost over this month.
The New Year is almost over this month?
Well, the first.
Okay,
new
I feel
month.
like January's been going on for like ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, right, I'm just going to use you to read the Bible. Because I don't want to. I will close my laptop. I don't want to use it.
So you want me to read your verses for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You're good at reading.
Yeah. I've been doing it since I was like 12 or 13. Yeah. That's a good thing.
Reading since you're 12.
Yep.
Is that true?
No, since I was like 7.
Oh, I was gonna think 17, but
No,
okay,
I learned before that.
that's good.
What if we get sponsored by Halls?
Cough drop brand. That's what you want us to sponsor us?
Yeah, because I've been sick like half of the first new month.
If you're listening, Halls, Riley wants a sponsor.
Yeah. I see it on other podcasts. They always ask for sponsors, so I thought we might.
You should write a list next time and just read it off all of the ones you want, and we'll just see what happens.
It'd probably mostly be surf brands would be the goal. Yeah.
What if the Bible sponsored us?
The app or the book?
Both.
What if we got sponsored by T-Mobile?
Why would they sponsor you?
No,
No, the
us, not
podcast.
him.
Yeah, why would they sponsor us?
I don't know, because we're doing some good in the world.
We have nothing in common with them.
That's true. We use. I don't use T-Mobile actually.
I have Verizon.
I have Verizon.
Ooh.
All right, let's get into this. So,
Welcome back.
welcome back to the Campfire Podcast. Oh, gosh, this feels good to say.
Wait, what episode
Yeah.
is this? 23.
24, 23.
Let me check.
I've lost count at this point.
I don't even know.
I have it right here. 22.
Okay.
We were all wrong.
Or 2-2.
Nobody's trying to be right.
You don't try and be right when you guess?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not that guy. I don't try to be right all the time. Sometimes I know I'm wrong. All right, so
Yeah, it's good. Sometimes you have to know you're wrong. and-
Didn't you guys have this whole conversation?
Just-
at the
we have
wedding?
this
Just
conversation every
about
day.
how Riley thinks he knows everything.
Hey, I don't.
We have this conversation almost every night.
Just like everyone else.
I don't think I've ever had a conversation with anybody before.
All right, so I'm gonna share a little bit of my inspiration for this episode because I suggested it.
Yep.
So was I'm gonna use you. I'm gonna have you. do
You were
something
afraid of Isaiah.
I'm gonna have you do something. But so was at church after Christmas. I think. You looked up the service yesterday, so I think it was after Christmas. I came back from Wyoming and was singing songs. So the songs that were sang on that Sunday service was Graves into Garden, Christ Be Magnified, Good Grace. So if Isaiah, you'd love to look up the Graves into Garden verse 2
Is he gonna sing it?
and then read it to us, not
Oh.
sing it. That's why I don't have you doing it, because I know you'd be singing
He'd
it.
start serenading
Have
the
you
whole
seen
song
that
to
video
us.
of the guy in the back when it's Graves in the Gardens and it's like the bump 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 and he's going crazy
Nope.
with it?
So read
We
verse
should
2.
post that on the story.
No, that is the I'm not afraid from I'm not afraid.
Okay.
What does it say?
I am not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend.
All right. So, and then you go to Christ be magnified, the bridge. Dang, he's so fast.
What's the next song?
The next song is Good Grace, the chorus.
Oh, no, he wants to sing it to us.
We don't want you singing it.
Bridge. This one? That's the chorus. This one?
Yeah. That one.
The big one?
Yeah, it's the bridge, yeah.
Okay. I won't bow to idols. I'll stand strong and worship you. And if it puts me in the fire, I'll rejoice because you're there too. I won't be formed by feelings. I'll hold fast to what is true. If the cross brings transformation, then I'll be crucified with you. Because death is just the doorway into resurrection life. And if I join you in your suffering, then I'll join you in your rise. And when you return in glory with all the angels and the saints, my heart will still be singing. My song will be the same.
Yeah, and then if you do the chorus for Good Grace.
Okay. I'm going to read it.
Please don't sing it.
Don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high. Don't fear no evil. Fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. Take courage. Hold on. Be strong. Remember where help comes from.
Yeah, and then another song that was sang that was, I don't know the title, but you don't have to look up the lyrics. It just said, I just wrote the word that stood out. Was like, even when my heart is heavy. So it was like all these 4 songs, like there were 5 songs sang that day, but it's like all these 4 songs had me thinking like what's my viewpoint on fear? It's like, how do I approach fear? Or like when I'm like, what are my thoughts and my actions when I'm anxious or afraid? So, and then I decided, well, let's explore that topic. And then I brought it before you guys, and graciously, you guys agreed to do it. So we're here. So this episode is part of that learning that we don't have to be afraid, or we should be afraid. I guess we'll find out. Either or, we'll find out. So, and then I have a few quotes that I want to share. The first one is from, what's her name? Elizabeth Elliot.
Yeah.
My
mom read like all of her books or something.
Wow.
Or something.
Something.
Or one.
What was the something she read?
I don't know. I never read it.
The quote from Elizabeth Elliot said, nobody, nothing, other than God can do damage to you. One. And then the second quote that I had was from Max Lucado. Says, is that how you pronounce his name? Is it Lucado or Lusado?
I don't think it's a sound.
Okay. Max Lucado said, the presence of fear does not mean you have no faith. Fear visits everybody, but make your fear a visitor and not a resident. So, like you see, for my part, then it was like when I was looking into this is, what are my actions or my thoughts and what's going on in my heart when I'm making a decision or I have to do something that I'm not used to doing? What are my thoughts? Yeah. What are my feelings? Do I feel like I'm ready for it? Or am I like, I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm afraid to do it, or I just won't do it at all because the future's unknown. So I bring that up just to share what my viewpoint was, and then I'll have you guys share what your thoughts on what fear is. Should you be afraid of Isaiah when he has his knives out? If you hang out around Zach, should you just be afraid because it's going to hit you all the time? Those are just my thoughts. So I'll have anyone who wants to go first, except Riley, between you two, can go and share what what the Bible says about fear, or what you guys want to like.
Practicing not being first.
Is it because of what the Bible says, or is it just because?
It's mostly the Bible.
Ooh. You're trying to be first, so you're not trying to be first?
I try to be last.
He got this book called The Perfect Christians. He hasn't read it yet, but I
read like 6 pages.
How long ago did you get it?
For like Christmas from my sister Tori. But it's like a satire book. It's not to be taken seriously.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really like address a bunch of verses, but I kind of just gonna take this question from like kind of like a base knowledge of what I have. I think there's 2 sides of it. There can be good fear and there can be bad fear. Like a representation of a bad fear would be like say like life is going like, and it's not necessarily like a terrible thing. Sometimes it's like God like showing you new things. He's growing you through things, and like that's the time when fear can be bad, and it can put you in boxes and tell you things and say like you're not cut out enough for this, whatever you're going through. Or like that's where Satan can come in and he can taunt you and say, well, you can't do this, but like where's your God that will help you through this? And you can kind of build those fears up and say, oh no, like is God not big enough now? And that's not true. Like he's big enough, and sometimes he's teaching you things, or sometimes it's just like like usually he's just trying to teach you things, and it's trust. Like he's trying to help you. He's giving you a place to trust him. And then I'd say for like a representation of like good fear, it would be like you'll probably hear it like constantly in like the Psalms, like the fear of the Lord this, fear of the Lord is that. Mm-hmm. It's the beginning of like knowledge. And I would say that would be like understanding that would be a place where you would find good fear. And it's, what does that even mean? Like the fear of the Lord. And I think people can come to different conclusions of that. Like the fear of the Lord, like it's fear without the Lord, or it's fear of the Lord of like, oh, he's going to do this. Like I wouldn't say like it's fear of eternity without God. I think that's the kind of fear that they're trying to take in when they talk about that. And just knowing that he is sovereign, that could be another part of it. Like knowing that he is a just God, and he does have a wrath as well as mercy, but he also has a wrath to take into account. It encompasses who he is, kind of.
Linda, what you got for us?
No, so when you first brought up the topic of like we should talk about what the Bible says about fear,
Were you afraid to talk about it?
no.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. That's good.
That's good.
But my brain first went to like the fear of the Lord instead of like that's just kind of where my mind went. I don't know why, but that's kind of where my head was at. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from talking about this is the fear of the Lord. And again, this is just my opinion. You know, I don't know everything, unlike Riley.
Ooh, catching strays everywhere.
2
But
days in a row. Okay, go ahead.
in Proverbs 9, verse 10, it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." And I think kind of what that's saying is like the way I view the fear of the Lord is almost kind of like, you know how like you kind of fear your parents a little bit in a certain way, where it's you fear them because you know that
they brought you in, they can take you out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's kind of what the fear of the Lord is if you're not really afraid of God at all, then why would you follow him, right?
Seems like he doesn't have much power if you don't have respect or fear
Right. Like,
for him.
I think you need a little bit of fear to have like that like the respect for him, because like he could smite you or send you to hell,
Yeah.
or
Like sometimes,
turn you into a pillar of salt.
yeah, you see all the crazy examples in the Bible, and sometimes we have times like that where we're like going the wrong way, and we see like, oh, this is God's correction. That was pretty crazy. Or maybe we're also going the wrong way, and then we see him rescue us. Like, how did God get me out of this? Like, it could have been so bad. So you have that, you're kind of in awe of him, but you're also a little bit freaked out.
It's like a healthy fear.
Yeah. Of what he can do. Like, you think you can do your own things. Like, Proverbs talks about a man plans his ways, but the Lord directs his steps. Like, God can just move us around and do whatever he wants with us.
Yeah. Was that from you?
Yeah, dude, I got mucus, dude.
Oh, okay. So
He's all
Moist mucus.
okay. Moving on.
That was
So like
Sorry
for
if
me,
I interrupted, Isaiah. You can carry
that
on.
was good.
like for me, I was thinking like this podcast was one of those things I was like I had a fear about.
Yeah.
The fear was, what if people don't like it? I mean, I know my friends and family might watch it and they'll say it's good.
Out of obligation.
What if they don't
It's
mute
like,
it?
yeah, like, what if they watch it on mute? Or what if they listen to it on mute? It's like, I listened to it.
It says played.
It's played, but I didn't. But so it's like that fear of failure. That's where I was coming from. Like Isaiah said, it's like there's two kinds of fears in the Bible. There's a fear, like you said, Xander said something just like there's a fear of like bad fear, and then there's like good fear, which is like the Bible defines it as like reverence for God instead of like I'm terrified of you. It's like I'm amazed by you.
Well, like think about like the angels. When people usually see the angels,
I've seen you.
They're afraid.
they're like freaked out, right? They're like falling on their
And
face.
the
They're
angels
like,
always
please don't kill me.
Yeah, what do the angels always say?
Like, what?
Don't be afraid.
Yes, do
Yeah.
not be afraid. Do not fear me.
What I said to you every time I see you. I'm afraid, and you're like, you're
Do
fine.
not be afraid. It is I. You did a little shake. Say it.
Yeah, but yeah, that was like because you kind of have to look at the both sides of the equation. You would say like there's a good fear and then there's a bad fear, which is like you're just afraid. Like if you see a knife, probably don't touch the sharp side. That's kind of like good fear. Like if you see Isaiah brandish out his knife, don't go close to him because he might slip and cut your finger.
Like you did.
I think you tried to grab it.
But why did you give it to
Yeah,
me? Like it's
because
like
you-
giving a gun to a baby. You give me a
Can I
knife.
see your knife?
And then, yeah, just because a kid says, give me that gun doesn't mean you give it
Are
to
you a
them.
kid? Are you a kid?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
God's kid. Wow, Isaiah. But yes,
I didn't know you couldn't be trusted with knives.
you can't trust me with anything.
Child of God.
Yeah. So there's like the Bible in Proverbs 9:10. You can go to there.
Okay, everyone's stealing my references,
What
but
did you just say?
let's
Proverbs
do it.
9:10.
I have it right here.
What do you mean I'm stealing your references? I
Yeah.
have it written down right here.
Go ahead.
Read it. I'm asking you to read it.
Well, I gotta find out what popsicle stick it's in. Okay, that's Psalms.
And then Isaiah, you can go to Ecclesiastes 12:13.
Okay,
Is that yours too?
Nope, you
Okay.
can have that one.
Okay.
Okay, Proverbs 9:10.
Yeah.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding.
Yeah, so that's like the good fear, right? You're fearing God, and out of that comes wisdom and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like, I fear you, I don't want to get close to you, then I don't know you at all, I don't understand you at all.
I
And
think
then-
it's also kind of saying like it's wise to fear God.
yeah, so like read the
Yeah.
verse.
Like you, I looked it up, the definition of the fear of God, and it's what we've been talking about. It's just you regard him with reverence and awe.
Yeah. It's like the stuff that's how you're like, I don't want to touch that, but I'm going to use it to cook my food, but I don't want to put my hand on it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm amazed that
Yeah.
thing is on fire, but yeah, what does Ecclesiastes 12:13 say?
So Ecclesiastes 12:13. The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
So like this is like the good fear. Like out of this comes life. Out of this fear for God. Out of this reverence. Out of this awe. Out of this respect
Mm-hmm.
comes life. Comes wisdom and comes understanding. And then there's the bad fear. It's like I fear you so much. I don't want to get close. It's like the Hitler kind. It's like I might die if I
Like
come
if I'm a
close.
Jew and you're Hitler, I am scared.
Look at me. How can I be?
Isaiah, no.
Isaiah's German, so
Yeah.
it could be a little bit. So, and then like that's like the definition of what is the fear of the Lord. Is like the reverence, the respect, and the awe of like this is just a big thing. It can take me out. It's like if snap of a finger,
Yeah,
just disappear.
he's the creator.
Yeah. And then I was like looking up at other things like in the Bible, like where do we see people being afraid and then God coming through? And it's like Gideon, if you go to Judges 6:15. Let's see who's Isaiah's just looking it up on the interwebs, so it's faster than both.
I
of
got
them.
it. 6:15.
Yeah, 6:15. What does it say?
This is Gideon talking.
You're the one reading it.
Okay. It just says he. So he, Gideon, said to him, "O my Lord, how can I save Israel? Indeed, my clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house.
And then and then read to like maybe 15, maybe to like 17 or 18.
And the Lord said to him, Surely I will be with you, and I will defeat the Midianites as one man. Then he said to him, If now I have found favor in your sight, then show me a sign that it is you who talks with me. Do not depart from here, I pray, until I come back to you and bring out my offering and set it before you. And he said, I will wait until you come back.
And then go to verse 27, like same.
So after he does the sign with the fleece? So Gideon took 10 men from among his servants and did as the Lord had said to him. But because he feared his father's household and the men of the city too much to do it by day, he did it by night. Oh, was he destroying the
idols
or the idols?
So like I think from there we see like Gideon being afraid. It's like, God, I can't do this, and then God is like, I will do it, not you. So it's like when we're afraid, I think I was thinking like our response should be like go straight to God, right? It's like I was thinking about it's like when a kid is working with his father and is scared of something, the first thing he does is not like, oh my gosh, look at that scary. It's just like he sees something scary, just
like, Dad!
Goes on, holds his father's hand.
Yeah.
That's all they do. It's like they know they're protected by the father. And I think it's the same for us as Christians. Like when we're afraid, our first response is like, I'll go to God and he'll protect me and he'll provide for me and he'll be there for me. Like I think for like I still struggle with this, but for a long time I struggle with the idea of like my ability, like knowing sometimes I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I'm not good enough to be here. I'm not good enough to be in this position. I'm not good enough to be experiencing the things I'm experiencing right now. Oh, I don't deserve these things. And
you're saying with good things sometimes?
Yeah, like most of the time it's good things. Like I don't deserve these good things that are happening to me.
Like living with me?
That's up for interpretation. Moving on.
Moving on. Moving on. Like these good things are happening. It's like being in Hawaii, going to school, like graduating, like all these things. Like it's just like having great friends, Xander and Desire, and Riley, and like all these things. It's like you're like you go through moments of doubt of like I don't think I deserve all these things happening to me. I don't think I'm being a good steward. Like that's one of my fears. Like what if people think you didn't do a good job with what we gave you? It's like, and then I come back to like moments like, but what does God think of you, and what does God say about you when you're going through all those moments? I think God is like, I'm here for you, and I'll walk you through all these things. And like if you go to Matthew 14 verse 30, is that your reference again, sir?
No, okay. I would let you know.
Matthew 14:30. I mean.
Wait, Xander, did you have something to say a couple minutes back?
Huh?
Did you have something to say a couple minutes back?
Yeah, but you guys covered.
Oh.
I was looking at Proverbs 8:10.
8:10?
Maybe 9:10.
Was it 9:10?
Yeah. 9:10, yeah. Okay, so can you read that verse?
Yeah. So Matthew 14:30. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. He cried out, Lord, save me.
And then go to the next verse, like 31. 15:30, so 14:30, so 31.
The people were amazed when they saw the mute speak. The cripple made well.
That's 15. 14. 14:30.
You said 15.
You said
something.
15.
Yeah.
He should have known it was the next verse.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read 30 again?
30, yeah, read 30 and 31.
Okay. Starting at verse 30. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. Cried out, Lord, save me. Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You of little faith, he said. Why did you doubt?
Yeah, so like you see, I think like right here we see Peter has like this, like the perfect example of how we should react in situation of fear, because like he knew he was sinking, he was drowning, and then it's like, oh, this guy that can save me is like right there. Hey, hold my hand, sir. I'm dying here. So it's like, I think that's like that was like a learning moment for me. It's like Peter knew he was a fisherman, so probably he could swim, but it's like, no, not this time. I'm going to call on God, and God is going to save me. And what did God do? He didn't go like, oh my gosh, you should have trusted me this whole time. Just said, gave him the hand. Wasn't like judged him first. It's just like, gave him the hand, saved him, and it was like, why did you doubt me? Like after the fact, it wasn't like, well, you doubted me, so I'm just gonna leave you there to face the consequences.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right.
He saved him first, and then he
was like, "Why did you doubt?" Yeah. So I think we see this even with the Israelites. Like they go through something, they doubt God, they do something on their own, and God's like, "Why are you doubting me?"
Yeah.
Look at me.
And they go back to God.
Yeah.
And then He saves them. Then they forget about it.
Yeah. So I think I thought that was like a perfect example of like the perfect response to fear, anxiety. It's like you're going through something, like fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Fear of rejection, fear of like social stuff, like you're afraid of something, except
social events.
Apparently, there's fear of like numbers. People are scared of numbers. Maybe that's why I'm bad at math. I'm scared of my numbers. Like, whoa, don't come close to me. But there's different kinds of fears, like the physical fears. Like if you're hanging around this area, you might get hurt. Him and Zach might hurt you.
Yeah.
Like that's just, and then there's social fears. There's emotional fears. Like what if Feston says something mean and then hurts my feelings, and then I go home and cry.
That's not really a what if. That's kind of like,
okay,
how do I deal with it when it happens?
How do you deal with it when it happens on a daily basis?
Oh, I just say something back
Stupid?
and then we laugh.
Okay.
And then there's like
I don't get upset.
Oh wait, do we laugh or do you laugh? Because that happens a lot.
Usually I do, which makes you guys also laugh.
Okay. And then there's like existential fears, environmental fears, spiritual fears, psychological fears. It's like, you're getting bullied mentally. It's just like, gosh.
Oh, that's the worst.
Look at your hairline, Riley.
Oh, man.
Like the situational fears, fear of change. That's a big one for people. Like you go through something, it's like, I don't want change. I'm comfortable where I am. Like Riley was talking about, it's like God can just move you. But it's like, you're like, first, like, what if God wants me to go to North Korea? It's like, that's change. I won't have my family there. I won't have my friends there. But then, like we've seen from the Bible, God's like, I will do it for you. Instead of like, you will do it on your own, God will do it for you. And then the next question was like for everybody to comment on. It was, should Christians be afraid? Like as Christians, do you think we should be afraid?
No. I don't think so. I don't know where the verse is, but it says don't fear man, but fear God who holds your eternity in its hand. That's a paraphrase, but that's the idea of it. But then I think we shouldn't be afraid because when
I said should Christians be afraid? I didn't say afraid of God. I said just afraid.
Oh, no, I don't think we should be afraid because when Jesus says to Peter, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" I think he feared because he lacked faith. So when you lack faith and you don't see God for who he is, as he's in control and he's always there for you, then I would say that fear fills those gaps where the faith used to be. Because he looked around, he took his eyes off of God, and he looked at the things that he couldn't control. And that's what made him fearful. Fear of dying, fear of drowning. So I would say we shouldn't.
You have something?
I have an answer to your question.
Ooh, I love this. Yeah, tell me.
In 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline."
Why are you smiling? Got something to say?
No, that's all my...
Well, no, still, we didn't check your notes like you do with like taking over our stuff. We did not. So, yeah, I think I'm erring on the side of like we should be afraid. But what are we afraid of?
I think we should have a healthy fear.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like
I think you would be like there's certain things I think you need to be afraid of. Otherwise,
if a guy pulls a knife on you, like, well, I have faith. You're gonna stab me though. Like, yeah, you have faith. But this knife can go through your ribs right now.
Yeah.
And poke your little heart.
Yeah, I don't think you say, God is with me. I have so much faith. I'm going to go 100 on the poly all the way through with no fear.
I'm going to go skydiving without a parachute because I'm not afraid.
Yeah, that's the line between, oh, I have faith in God and
that's just
being stupid. Yeah.
Whoa, you guys said stupid. That's a bad word.
You just don't want to hear it.
Oh, Wow. Say, give me the credit. Don't take it. As, okay.
That's your meme, and it's not stupid. It's shut up.
Oh, okay.
Same thing.
And then, so we look at Jeremiah, right? So if you go to Jeremiah 1, verse 4 through 10, Jeremiah 1. I mean, these are like great people that we like. You read the Bible, you're like, wow, these guys did so many great things. But you see moments of them being afraid of unknown, of like change, of what might happen. Yeah, so like Jeremiah 1, 4 through 10.
The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Alas, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. But the Lord said to me, Do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to, and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you. I will rescue you, declares the Lord. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, I have put my words in your mouth. See, today I appoint you over the nations and kingdoms, to uproot and tear down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant.
Yeah, so like this was like a perfect example, like fear of like your ability and your like not being enough. It's like I don't know how to speak. Like I stutter when I see strangers, or I'm like I start sweating and like why are you sweating? It's like I'm just nervous. Like God is like I will speak through you. You're not the one speaking. I will speak through you. So it's that perfect example of like people are like, oh man, I don't know how to talk to strangers about God's like word, and God's just like, hey, just go. I'll speak through you.
He can give you the words.
He'll give you the words. Like there's the social anxiety of like, oh, what if I mess up? What if I do this? What if I say the wrong thing? And then that person never comes to Christ because I said something wrong. And then
that's a fear of mine that I have to work through. Talking, like if I feel like God is telling me to talk to someone, actually going up, because you feel afraid of going up and maybe they won't receive it or it's just going to be weird. But then if you don't, like it's happened to me before where I didn't follow God's voice, then you feel afraid because you didn't obey God and like you're thinking God could have used me. Like now I'm kind of afraid for them, like for their heart or like their views on God, like what I missed out on because I didn't do it.
Yeah. And then you look at Elijah too in 1 Kings 19:3-4. Do your thing, boys. Do your thing, readers. I feel like an English teacher teaching you guys how to read. 1 Kings 19:3-4.
3-4?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there, while he himself went on a day's journey into the wilderness. He came to a broom bush and sat under it and prayed that he might die. I have had enough, Lord, he said. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors.
And then, like, when you read down, you see God, like, providing food for him because he just, like, slept under a tree with no food. And God was like, hey, I know you're afraid, but I'm going to provide for you.
Well, what was he afraid of?
For his life.
He was running from Jezebel.
People were coming for his life.
Yeah.
Oh, like, whoa.
They were going to kill him.
They're going to unalive him.
And the earlier part of 19, it says that Elijah had killed some prophets.
Oh,
Jezebel, and Jezebel was mad, so she sent people to kill him.
Yeah, so like you see, like I think that's like a perfect example because I listened to this show, Matters and Missionaries, and you listen to all these great stories of like missionaries and martyrs, people that have died for the faith, and like it's exciting to hear, but it's also scary because like these guys went through a lot of things. I don't know if I could have done it. It's just like that fear of like, but then you see like. You listen to it, you reflect on it, you see like God providing for these guys. Like, oh, we're looking for a way to get back. Like I was listening to, I think it was Eliza Kuhn, She was in China, and she was like, she got displaced from this, like this, because there's war going on. She got displaced, but her heart, God had put it on her heart to go back to that village, and she was looking for transportation. She didn't have enough money, and just like out of the sudden, some missionary guy showed up, like, "Hey, do you guys need a ride?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's like a three days journey. It's just like for free, which would have cost them money, and they didn't have the money. It's just like God providing. So it's like these moments of like, I'm afraid of what's gonna happen, and then God comes through, and I think that's like it's a fear that I have. It's like what I'm afraid of the tomorrow. Like, what if tomorrow doesn't go the way I want it to go? What if tomorrow doesn't happen the way I picture it to go?
What if Isaiah falls off the roof again?
I landed on my feet.
Ooh, he's gonna land on his feet. That's what's gonna happen.
The first time he did.
So like,
Play the second time.
wow, you want to be right, don't
I'm
you?
trying to condemn me.
Yeah. And then so like you see all these moments, and then like David was afraid and anxious about his enemies. And in Psalm 56:3, is that your references? I don't want to steal your thunder here.
Very good.
Psalm 56:3, and then Psalm 94:19. Can you read it, sir? Riley McCook? Riley Michael.
Which one do you have, Riley?
54:3.
56:3.
Yeah. That one too.
And then 94:19.
Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you.
Yeah, so that's David. It's like he's anxious and he's afraid because people are coming for him. And it's like, whenever I'm afraid, he's talking to God. It's like, whenever I'm afraid, whenever I'm anxious, I'll come to you because I know you help me, you rescue me. And then what does 94:19 say?
Psalm 94:19. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy.
So, like, you see, like, moments of, like, he's being afraid, but then he remembers the times that God has brought him through something. And it's like, well, remember that one time I was scared? Well, you helped me, so I'll just come to you, and you help me again. So that's where I was going with, like, in my head, I'm, like, thinking about this and processing everything and seeing, like, how God works. When his kids are afraid, it's like, he, like you guys already said, like, like, the angels come, and then people are like, afraid. It's like, don't be afraid, right? And then, like, God telling his people, like, do not be afraid. I'll carry you through. I'll walk you through. I'll do everything for you instead of you doing it for you. It's like, for me, it's like he's sending people on these missions, and it's like, people are like, well, like Moses is like, I don't know how to speak.
Yeah.
Were you talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk about it since you talked about it. I want to see your thoughts on that one.
Well, it's like the opposite from Jeremiah. Because Jeremiah said, I can't speak, I'm too young. And then God just gave him the words, and he accepted it, right?
Yeah.
Like, he had that fear, but then when God spoke to him, that fear went away. But with Moses is like, oh, I can't do it, I'm not good at it. But my brother Aaron, and so Aaron was the spokesperson, so he missed out on what God was trying to do in him. Like, God still worked through him, but it wasn't the full purpose of what God had in store. But he could neglect that because he had his own free will to do it.
Yeah. So, like, I think it's these moments of, like, you're afraid of something, or God is sending you on a mission. You're like, God, I don't know if I'll have enough money after 4 months because I saved up to this much money. It might run out. Or what if I get sick? I'm going to Africa. What if I get malaria? I'm going to die there. Or what if I, that thought has been discontinued. So, like, and then I think, like, the question then comes, like, who then should be afraid of God? Like, really afraid. I think you look at people that have rejected God, right? Let me find my notes. I think I don't have those words. Oh my gosh. So, like people that have rejected God, right? Those are the people. Like, if you go to Hebrews 10:31, and then as you can go to Matthew 10:28. He brews my coffee. Laugh, Riley. I know you want to laugh.
It's okay.
It is?
It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God.
All right. And then if you go to Matthew 10:28.
And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell.
Yeah, so I think that's like who should be afraid. I think it's those people that have rejected God, because then there's judgment after that. So like I was thinking to myself too about like being afraid. I was thinking my time in high school. I was like afraid of the punishment, because I would get in trouble a lot of time, like a lot.
Yeah.
Like more than usual.
So much.
I would get in trouble so much.
On a daily basis?
Daily. Talk about
Hourly
basis. Oh, it's festing
Minute by
again.
minute.
It's festing again. He's in trouble again. But like I was there were moments where like I was afraid of some teachers, not because they're gonna like whoop me or like hit me. It's just like because they'll just sit down with me and talk to me. I was afraid of that more than the one that's gonna hit me. Like hit me and let me go, but don't sit me down and be like, Festin, think about your life, where you're going, where this is taking you. Just hit me and let me go. So like that's like a fear of like just a punishment, but that doesn't change you, right? And but the fear of like the fear we have as Christians for God is the one that changes you, that transforms you. And the fear that people that reject God have is the fear that like they're just afraid of the judgment than that don't respect the relationship because they don't have it. But we as Christians respect the relationship because like we don't want to break God's heart, right? Mm-hmm. But like most people are just like, well, I don't want to go to hell. That's all I care about. Like we're like, I want to go to heaven. It's not that I don't want to go. It's just I just want to go to heaven, drink some wine, eat some steaks, and live happily ever after. That's like where I was like, God, I'm not drinking wine on earth, but if I go to heaven, I'm taking all the bottles on the table, like everything. So I think those
not good.
Whoa, what's not good? Going to heaven and drinking wine?
Yeah, not all the bottles.
There's plenty, Riley. There's plenty. So I think for us believers, like our fear should transform into love and reverence for God. Then I'm so terrified of you. Then the terrifying kind of fear. And then so we should also like I think there's the striving for like where do you find the balance between like fear and love in your relationship with God. It's like, well, our relationship with God involves like reverent fear and loving closeness, right? So the more we fear Him, the more we grow closer to Him than far away from Him. And we recognize that we're able to recognize God's power, His justice, and His holiness, right? So we know that God is our Father who loves unconditionally, but He's also just, and there's consequences for our actions. But we have a relationship with Him and pursue that more than just like, I'm afraid of what you might do to me if I don't listen to you. It's more like I'm afraid what I might miss out on if I don't listen. If I don't listen to it. So, like Psalm 103, 11 through 14, like it's like a perfect encapsulation of this perfect balance between like our love for God and our fear for God in relationship with Him. Ooh, where you go? Do you find it? Psalm 103.
The whole thing?
103, 11 through 14. I mean, you could read the whole thing.
Okay. Thanks for the offer, though.
Okay. I just have to offer sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the thought that matters, right?
Sometimes it's the action. All right, go ahead.
All right, Psalm 103, 11 through 14. For as high as the heavens are above the earth, so great is His love for those who fear Him. As far as the east is from the west, so far has He removed our transgressions from us. As a father has compassion for his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear Him. For He knows how we were formed. He remembers that we are dust.
See, that's like a perfect example. Like He knows that you're just dust. He can just Thanos you and erase you out of existence. But He loves us unconditionally, and He has like compassion for us. Those for us that have a fear for Him, like a reverent fear for Him, than like the ones that are like, oh, to hell with God. I don't want that guy.
Yeah.
Right?
You said a bad word.
Riley had this talk with me in the car, but I think I had it better.
I think those that say they don't fear God should fear God the most.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like absolutely
That's
no
like a paradox, though.
reverence. Yeah.
Yeah. And then any. So?
He still has a whole sheet of notes over there. I mean,
I mean, a lot of.
I think we
of
stole a lot
has
of
been
it.
helpful. No, it's been good.
I think next time he's gonna hide his notes, even though we didn't look at
I'm
it.
gonna
Like-
go first.
he's gonna go for
Yeah, he's just gonna go first, read his own notes, and then just like, well, that's my thought. I'm done. What were you gonna say?
Do you have anything you want to share
Michael.
from the bottom of your heart?
Ooh, don't give him that chance.
Man, I don't know if we want to go to the bottom, but
How about the middle?
we can go somewhere in the heart.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Which chamber?
Oh, we're gonna go to the king chamber.
Okay.
For kings.
Okay, kings and not king.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're reading the whole book, or what do we?
I think I
No.
say I want to read the whole book.
Dude, read the whole Bible. I support you. Any chapter, whole chapter, verses. But I'm gonna read 1 Kings 4, or 1 Kings 9, 4 through 9. And Solomon has built the temple, and this is God appearing to him for the second time. And God says, "Now if you walk before me as your father David walked, in integrity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded you, and if you keep my statutes and my judgments, then I will establish the throne of your kingdom over Israel forever, as I promised David your father, saying, you shall not fail to have a man on the throne of Israel. But if you or your sons at all turn from following me, and do not keep my commandments and my statutes, which I have set before you, but go and serve other gods and worship them, then I will cut off Israel from the land which I have given them, and this house which I have consecrated for my name I will cast out of my sight. Israel will be a proverb and a byword among all peoples. And as for this house which is exalted, everyone who passes by it will be astonished and will hiss and say, why has the Lord done thus to the land and to this house? Then they will answer, because they forsook the Lord their God, who brought their fathers out of the land of Egypt, and have embraced other gods, and worshipped them, and served them. Therefore the Lord has brought all this calamity on them. So what stood out to me in that is knowing that Solomon, God had already appeared to Solomon. He had asked for wisdom. He's doing good. He builds the temple. He dedicates the temple. So it's a really high moment for him. And then for me, when I feel like I'm doing my best, like when I'm focused on what I'm doing for God, when it turns more into works and checking things off of a list, like, oh, I've read my Bible. I was nice to my friends. Like, someone said
Were
something
you?
to me, and I could have said something, but I didn't. Like, I'm doing really good.
You have
Yeah.
those moments where someone says
Yeah.
something and you don't say anything?
Yeah, and it
That's
becomes
crazy.
It becomes work based, and
Wow.
then this is really awesome from God, because God is honest with him, and he has a plan, he has a warning, but Solomon ultimately he's gonna fall into sin. Like, the desires of the world were too important to him to stay with God, because in chapter 11, the heading of chapter 11 says Solomon's heart turned from the Lord, and he had disobeyed God and like fallen into so many different kinds of sexual immorality, with marrying all these women and then worshiping their gods that they brought with them from their lands. And so in 1 Kings 11, 9 through 13, after Solomon had fallen away from God, it says, so the Lord became angry with Solomon, because his heart had turned from the Lord God of Israel, who appeared to him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods. But he did not keep what the Lord had commanded. Therefore the Lord said to Solomon, because you have done this, and have not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded you, I will surely tear the kingdom away from you, and give it to your servant. Nevertheless, I will not do it in your days, for the sake of your father David. I will tear it out of the hand of your son. However, I will not tear away the whole kingdom. I will give one tribe to your son for the sake of my servant David and for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen. So Xander did a good job earlier talking about the difference between fearing God in a healthy way and then also fearing God because of his wrath. And this is God's wrath. This is God's judgment upon Solomon and his family. But Feston also talked about David, who David was not at all a perfect person, but God loved David so much, and God loved the heart of David to be able to acknowledge the sin that he had, to be in fear of God, but to also know that God is a loving God who is merciful and gracious, and those mercies are new every morning. And David saw that, so he had a heart of repentance. So even in God's judgment, he's still showing mercy to Solomon because he is from the line of David. I don't really know all the answers on this one, but
Well, I was waiting for that to come out.
Yeah.
On this one.
But David was so important to God. Like, man, he's kind of giving them like way less punishment because of David. So I saw that example where Solomon didn't have a healthy fear of God, respect, and ultimately because God was wanting to take him this way and he just went the opposite way. And God wants to lead you into good things and into blessings, but that doesn't always mean that it's easy, but he gives you hope and he can take away that fear because his love is perfect. But Solomon ignored that and he followed after the lust of his flesh, and God is just saying, well, I told you before, I appeared to you twice. If you're going to go this way, this is what's going to happen. And it's a sad end for Solomon. And like, I don't want to see people have a story similar to Solomon where they've known the Lord and they've seen his goodness and they've done a lot of good things, but then ultimately they lose that fear of who God is. So I definitely appreciate Feston leading us.
Are you going to cry?
No, I'm good,
okay.
man.
I was just, because I told you before, I don't know. I never know what to do when people start crying.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, it's about to get awkward.
So I definitely appreciate Feston bringing this up because fear is such a big thing that holds us back from God. And then when we're living in fear, we start grasping at other things to try to fill the void. And like how you said, there's so many different types of fear. People, they fear death because they have no hope. They fear people's thoughts. Christians sometimes can fear persecution, but hopefully this can just be
an encouragement.
Yeah, an encouragement to people. We went through so many verses, and we talked about fears that we have and how we deal with it.
Isaiah is not afraid of anything. He didn't share anything.
No, that's
look at him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, look at he's like, fear's afraid of me, not
yeah.
the other way around.
Do you have a phobia, Riley?
Sharks.
Really?
Yeah.
You're afraid of sharks?
If I see a shark in the water, I'm gonna paddle in. It happened once before.
You're gonna paddle in?
Yeah, and I was.
What if you're not on a board?
Oh, I wouldn't be out there far enough. Oh, if I'm swimming with whales, maybe, but
because you do that
I would
all
have
the time, don't you?
I want to do it, but I would have a board with me at least. I don't want to be way out there in the ocean without a board or a boat or something.
Do you have a phobia?
I think so. I think I'm afraid of what am I afraid of? I think my biggest one is afraid of like legacies. Like, I look at my life, I'm like, whoa, if I live here and like forever, what are people gonna say about me when I leave? Like, that's like a big fear for me. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I'm always thinking like
what are they gonna say at your funeral?
Like, no, I don't care what you say at my funeral, but it's like if I lived to my cook's house and and people come over to my cook's house to say, oh, we had Feston live with us.
Used to live here.
Yeah. And then what are they gonna say?
Like Olaf said.
I don't want to hear.
Like Olaf said, hey, all good things.
Okay. So that's another.
I'm frozen.
What else am I afraid of? I don't know if I'm afraid of heights, except that one jump in what's that one?
Frog Falls.
Yeah.
Frog Falls. That scares me every time.
Yeah, I'm afraid of heights sometimes too.
But you skydived.
Yeah, you can. Hey,
did you see hairline on that skydive?
There was none.
You can work through your fear.
Yeah, you can work through your fear with God.
I had a parachute.
Yeah, see?
You had a dude that had a parachute strapped to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The instructor.
So he had the dude.
yeah.
Yeah. Sandra, any closing thoughts?
Do you have any phobias?
Oh, yeah. Any phobias?
I don't know.
Mine's Riley.
I probably do.
Wait,
But-
your
Really?
phobias, Riley?
Oh, I'm gonna lean into that a little bit. Freak Isaiah out.
Don't lean into anything, Riley, please.
I think, yeah, sharks is a good one, I guess. Because, like,
Surf.
sometimes-
Yeah,
'cause
surfer.
you'll be out in the water and you can't see the bottom sometimes, and you'll be, like, sitting out there alone and you'll be like, there could
Yeah.
be, there could
Oh,
be
I thi-
something down there.
I think I'm also afraid of drowning.
Do you ever like? I mean, you probably haven't, but like Sandra, when you go diving, like you go to the very bottom, look out, and it's just like blue, and it's like you can't see.
Oh,
Like,
that'd
you can
be
just see
freaky.
as far as you can. It's
Yeah.
just blue, and you're like,
I haven't been in deep water with a mask.
Because
on.
you go scuba diving, right? So you're in pretty deep water.
well, it's like like 60 feet, and you're sitting there, and
Yeah.
it's crazy because it's like those mountains where it's just like goes on forever.
Yeah.
But imagine that with just water.
Yeah.
It's like it's a weird feeling because it's like
And you're like, what if a shark just
you almost
shows
feel
up?
like there could
What
be
if
like a
they
giant
look
monster.
behind me?
What if Jonah's fish just comes 3 days with me, man? Let's spend some time together. But yeah, I think I'm afraid of drowning. Even if I get like good at swimming, I think I'd still be afraid of drowning. It just scares me. Like
Oh.
I go underwater, I'm like, whoa, what if I just get stuck here? Like
Oh,
nothing is
yeah.
moving, I just get stuck. I just like I stop breathing and just get stuck down here. That scares me.
I don't know if it's a fear.
Also, I think Riley's like trying to like his love language is like physical touch. I'm afraid of him just touching.
Dude,
me
I just want
randomly.
to high five.
Yeah, I'm afraid of that.
I don't know if this is a fear. I think
It
I
is.
was more afraid of it when I was younger, but it just boggles my mind about dying and then living forever.
I am very
It-
confused.
It boggles my mind. Like,
I am
like-
my mind is very boggled right now. You
Yeah.
put me in a muck.
when like it kind of freaks me out. Like, how are we gonna live forever? What are we gonna do? What is it gonna
Like I said,
like you're gonna die and then you're gonna see God and
drink wine, eat meat in
you're gonna
heaven.
live forever.
You're gonna eat mead.
Meat.
Me.
Come on, Isaiah. You have headsets on. What about you, Isaiah? Any phobias?
I'd say one of mine is definitely like
Death?
No, like going down deep and just looking like in the like, as
And not
far as
seeing it.
Oh.
it's
Yeah.
you almost like a giant monster or like a giant fish is gonna come out and just like
Whoa! What if Jonah's phobias was water, and
Yeah.
then those guys just threw him, and then it was like, whoop, darkness, old friend.
didn't he
Sometimes,
suggest it though? He's like, you guys gotta throw me off this boat.
Yeah.
sometimes I'm afraid of flying because 1 out of 4 airplanes crash.
Well, I've
No
been a lot
way.
more than 4, so and I haven't crashed yet. So I think our odds are pretty good.
1 out of 4.
Yeah.
Is that true? I don't know.
Is
if
this true?
I just want to see Isaiah look it up.
Don't give us that one. Thank you.
Look it up.
1 in 11 million.
See,
It is not very common. The odds of plane crashes are not common.
he gets his news from headlines, not the whole article.
The probability of an airplane going down due to an emergency is about 1 in 11 million.
Look at him.
4 million. No.
You're still like a few million off.
Yeah.
There's some bumpy flights where I got a little scared.
Dude, on the way back from Idaho, we had like some crazy turbulence and I was watching Interstellar.
Oh,
From where?
Idaho. Snowboarding. The first year.
nice. Sounds fun.
Yeah. In conclusion, do not live in fear. Do not live in terror of God, but we should have a deep reverence for Him, because the fear of the Lord leads to wisdom, obedience, and a closer relationship with Him. Those are my closing thoughts. Anyone else?
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. See you later, alligator. In a wild crocodile. That's what you're supposed to say. Simon Birch.
In
come
a wild
on.
crocodile.
Thank you.
See you soon, baboon.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. Whoa. It's yeah. All right. Thank you for listening to the
Yeah,
Campfire
thank you.
Podcast.
Check us out on YouTube now because we have video.
Yeah.
Like, comment, YouTube, watch, share, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Oh, I just want to
everything.
share this. I think Xander said his first time listening to a podcast was our first.
Yeah, so we were honored.
We
So,
are
so if you have friends that are afraid of listening to podcasts, tell them we have a YouTube channel now. They can watch us there.
Yeah.
They don't have to listen to it. They can watch it.
Yeah. You can just put it on TV. That's
Maybe
crazy.
next time Isaiah will do a dance or something.
Yeah, it's very unlikely.
That's very
There'll
unlikely.
be
But,
more movement.
but we're afraid if you don't hit that subscribe
That's for
button,
the Patreon.
you're gonna miss this one.
My fear is not having subscribers.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, also, if you want to keep this conversation going, we have comments on Spotify and YouTube. So leave us a comment.
Message us on Instagram. Give us suggestions.
Yeah, Riley's
Yeah,
off
no-
Instagram. So
Those are super helpful.
Blow Riley's ego up. Tell him
Uh,
how cool he is.
the Instagram comments.
Yeah, for topics. Those are
For
cool.
topic suggestions, you know where to hit us. You can,
In the face.
yeah, pretty much. You can text us, email us. Yeah, call Riley. He likes to talk on the phone. Start with small talk first. Don't get straight to the point.
No.
But subscribe.
Let him talk most of
Let's
the time.
ease into it.
Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate the comments, the likes, everything you can do to support us. That's all we ask for. Like, share this with someone you love, and they'll share
Or
with
maybe
someone
you
they
don't
love.
love them.
Maybe
You
an
can-
enemy.
Maybe you don't love them.
Maybe you're afraid of them. Share them. Send them this one. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.